What is an unrealistic sexual fantasy, fetish that you have? I'm sadly too old for my preferred portion of the student-teacher scenario. My girl dresses up as a nurse so I can live out the ultimate male fantasy of pretending to have health care. That mean with the white girl on the couch surrounded by black guys, except the black guys are every fit gym girls and the white girl is me. I'll meet somebody, we'll hit it off, get married, then have the sort of love, marriage like was enough. I know it's make-believe, but a man can dream, can't he? I pray my it get big as the Eiffel Tower so I can *UCK the world for 72 hours. Several women go down on me while I complete the New York Times spelling bee in peace. Getting taken in by a demon, monster of some kindan made to do all sorts of sexual favors in exchange for a decent life. That someone pays all my debt and then leaves meal one of the blue gals from Avatar. X in the middle of a large crowd at a concert that turns into a massive orgy while the band keeps playing. Wanna get screwed in a 15th century style fantasy world by a rugged but sensitive man with a mysterious backstory who's been paid to escort me across the country. I'm a beautiful princess in a flowy green velvet dress BTW. Edit. More things occurred in Game of Thrones than the Lannister incest twins guys. I don't want to screw my twin brother. Edit 2. Thank you all for reminding me Princess Bride exists. Haven't seen it in ages and it perfect. The guy's pretty much my type as well. Outlander was a good suggestion as well. Basically I want to clone my husband. You see, he has a very particular set of skills he has acquired over a very long career, skills that make me wish he could be in 2 or 3 places at the same time. Having X. Body swap, gender swap. Margot Robbie turning up at my door with a large amount of cocaine, spiced rum, red wine and wearing nothing but a suggestive smile. I would like to know the difference between a female RGASM and a male *RGASM. I'd like to be in a FFM threesome with my fiancé, but I don't think I would like how that would affect our relationship. So it's nice to think about, but I wouldn't act on it. Having sexual intercourse with the moon. Being abducted by some rich demon or vampire and being their little slave or pet in exchange for money, gifts, and a cozy place to sleep. Basically a sugar baby, but cooler. Ruling all of Earth as the sole immortal male. Also I can fly. Edit. Thank you to everyone for informing me how unrealistic my unrealistic fantasy is. Here's some details. Smart XE scientist women clone themselves to provide incest-free eternal sex. Flublord, 2023, at farms that sprout subjects from the ground fully formed and educated. I don't make any babies. I'm not ucking my own offspring. The population is sustained and I'll have several million years to get us into space so the sun dying isn't my doom. Shrink me down and shove me up there. No fetishes. Unrealistic fantasy, with Keanu Reeves. Being loved. Someone pleasuring me because they want to pleasure me. My ex-life with my past relationships was always as soon as she finishes, the ex is done. I'm tired of being the dominant one. Dominant one as in the one who takes charge, initiates it and finishes partner. Doesn't return effort. Helping Giselle cuckold Tom Brady. Threesome. Married to a wife who doesn't want to share. Don't really blame her, I don't either. I have a really big RPE fantasy. Like I want someone, preferably my significant other, to break into my apartment, kidnap me, and then have their way with me reasonably violently. Oops. I'm into size fantasy. My ultimate fantasy is to be somehow shrunk down to a mere 3 inches tall and basically be kept as a cute little pet by a nice woman. In particular, I just love the thought of being held in her now giant hands. Laws of physics say no sad face. Time machine and have X with the girls that wearing to oblivious, younger me. That after he's done, I am covered in sweat and he's dripping out of me like a bad faucet. He pulls me against his side, smooths my hair back from my face, kisses me and calls me a good girl. Definitely public X, but I am a rule follower in Dave, way too much anxiety to ever act on anything like that. LMAO. I don't have X fantasies anymore. Just love fantasies. In the most simple explanation possible, what do you do for a living? Tell plane go up. Tell plane come down. Be grumpy in front of a computer all day. I type numbers so people can get a paycheck. Build house good. I rub humans for dollars. I write documents to get people ready to die. I am a bender. I can bend any angle. 30 degrees, 32 degrees, you name it. Work. Sit in pointless meetings or wait for pointless meetings to be scheduled. I watch lines go across a screen. I call people if lines are scary. I clean fossils. I'm basically babysitting grown-ups that took a wrong turn in life and now aren't allowed to leave their one-room apartment. Know stuff and fix things. I design people's bad ideas and make them look good. I tell very dumb, very literal objects what to do, then figure out why they didn't do what I expected them to do, aka software engineer. Answer questions from people who should know the answer already. People who've had consensual X with someone you genuinely didn't want to have X with, how do you justify it? Enos said yes, Head said no. Wanted X. Was less than thrilled about the person it was with, but beggars can't be choosers. Because I couldn't say no to pretty much anything in my teens, early 20s. It's taken me a long time to learn to say no, and I still struggle with it. My mind was telling me no, but my BODYYYY was telling me YESSSSZ. I was a young and impressionable woman, and after him repeatedly asking and refusing to leave my apartment, I just kinda went with it. I know now that I was taught my whole life to be good, and in my environment while growing up, good meant I didn't question and I didn't argue. I don't feel the need to justify it, but I wonder how he feels about a woman reluctantly agreeing to sleep with him so he would leave her alone. I'm fine now, but had some bumps along the way as a young adult figuring out the world. I used to be a prostitute, which should answer the question. Chemistry was incredible in every way, except physically, sexually. Forced our way through a route, because we were curious but both too polite to say, "Hey, do you reckon this just doesn't feel right?" Thankfully, we're still extremely good friends, but we don't talk about that one time. I guess my body wanted it. Who is a good guy in history who actually wasn't a good guy? Coco Chanel was a literal Azzy. Edit. Since folks have been messaging me, she was not only a *Azzy spy. After the Germans invaded France, she turned her Jewish business partners into the Nazis to gain control of the company. She helped started several anti-Semitic newspapers as well. Also, she despised gays. There's a historical quote that goes along the lines of, "Great men are almost always bad men. You don't make history for being a decent dude who gets along with people. You make history by murdering everybody." Apparently Gandhi did some pretty sketchy hit. James Marion Sims, the father of modern gynecology, actually committed some pretty nasty human rights violations when he experimented on slave women. Oprah Winfrey has given a platform to some pretty awful people, like Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, and the prolific rapist John of God. Fritz Haber was a wonderful contradiction. Pioneered the synthesis of ammonia, which allowed the human population to get as vast as it is now, but also pioneered chemical warfare and oversaw its implementation by the Imperial German Army. John Batman, founder of Melbourne, also quite active in the Black Line, where hundreds of men and dogs raked the island of Tasmania in a long chain of merciless genocide. His biggest crime, though, he fully intended to name his new settlement Batmania. Thomas Edison, Adolf Hitler, big animal rights activist in the 1930s and a vegetarian during a time it wasn't socially acceptable. But if you look into his personal history and political views, he sounds like a really full person. Machiavelli would be shocked and saddened to know his name is synonymous with tyranny and pure evil. Guy was a staunch supporter of republics and a savvy politician. Some people still think Andrew Jackson was a good president, despite the fact that he was responsible for the Trail of Tears. John Wayne. He was drunk every day most of his life, so Rachi Stephen racists thought he was racist, a complete soul to the point where his idol hated him, a story thief who would take stories of others but make it his own, Carlos Mencia style, and help it perpetuate wars while actively avoiding ever being in them. He was apparently an okay dad according to his kids, I think, but beyond that he was a aunt of epic proportions. It says here in this history book that luckily, the good guys have won every single time. What are the odds? Norm MacDonald. How do you feel about the indictment of Donald Trump? Let's see if it actually goes anywhere. I feel like I'm going to need a break from Reddit for a couple days. I've already seen this question 6 other times. Very rare when someone pays for X once and gets *UK twice. He finally won a popular vote. Hold them all to the same standards. Okay, now can we finally just start charging other campaign finance violators? There are huge lists of shady business actors in the government and boards of large business who were involved in similar campaign violation and smearing schemes. Can we please start using the FBI to investigate corruption and bring charges to the wealthy oligarchs who keep gaming the system? How do you know when someone is really in an open relationship and not a cheater pretending to be in one? Ask them to pinky swear. Ask to meet their partner. If they're really open, it shouldn't be a problem. I was seeing a man who was married. He assured me that their relationship was open, that he had full permission to do whatever, and that if it would make me comfortable he would give me his wife's number and she and I could chat. We saw each other for about 4 years. I went to pick him up at his house a couple times and his wife would say, "Have a nice date." That's the way to do it. Everything on the table. If there's some sneakiness, something that makes you feel it's not quite right, you need to listen to that feeling. Okay, so I'm in an open relationship with my partner and he hooked up with this girl, and we called her to go get a drink with us and she was like, "I knew he had a girlfriend, but I didn't know you knew." After that I didn't want to hang out with her because she thought she was facilitating him cheating on me. Not cool. Intentions matter. My so and I just make videos explaining the situation and ground rules. That way, our potential partner know what they are dealing with. If you're feeling off about it, don't do it.